Happy AU Day, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Newsnight. My name is Kenneth. Jesse, let's take a look at our top stories. No show for absentee MPs as Privileges Committee fails to sit. Meanwhile, Minority Chief Muntaka Mubarak alleges some MPs are scheming to kick out Domi Kwabena MP Sarah Adwoa-Safo from Parliament. More trouble for the MPP as several supporters in the northern regional capital of Tamale protest the removal of names in the electoral album for the upcoming delegates' elections. President Akufo-Addo charges MMDAs to demolish all structures on waterways following devastating floods which have left 2 persons dead in Accra. Meanwhile, residents of Yesu Kurom in the central region appeal for removal of structures in waterways. And later on the international front, a coalition of opposition parties, including the NDC, call for immediate social, political and economic reforms by government for the benefit of the citizenry, threatening a demonstration soon of the prevailing hardship. And we'll take you to Nigeria, where presidential hopeful of the ruling APC party in Nigeria has been arrested and detained on corruption charges. Details of these and many other stories are coming up shortly. Stay with us. Begin from Parliament, where the Minority Chief Muntaka Mubarak has described as mere hatred the hauling before the Privileges Committee some 3 majority MPs for absenting themselves for more than 15 sittings. According to him, the move is a ploy by some members of the House to kick out the embattled Domi Kwabena MP Sarah Adwoa-Safo.
The Privileges Committee of Parliament has outlined modalities for its hearing on a referral by Speaker of Parliament Alban Sumana Kingsford Babin of some 3 MPs for absenting themselves from the House for more than 15 sittings. According to the committee, the Greater Accra Regional Minister and MP for Ayawaso Central, Henry Quartey, will appear before them on May 26. May 27 will be the turn of embattled Domi Kwabena MP Sarah Adwoa-Safo. The committee will then meet at Central MP Kennedy Japan on May 31. MP for Aswase Muntaka Mubarak, who contested the Speaker's ruling and referral, says hauling his colleagues before the Privileges Committee will set a bad precedent. He adds that the move could be part of a grand scheme to eject Sarah Adwoa-Safo out of the House due to the hung nature of the 8th Parliament.
For me, all this that we do is for posterity. So I am very convinced beyond reasonable that the method that is being used is wrong. I mean, it frowns our standing orders. It is not. It cannot be justified. I'm very convinced about that. We can't hate ourselves that much. We can't. You and I have been in this country. I will not want to mention specific names. Go check Supreme Court. I know people, Supreme Court judges, who were sick for 3 years. They were still being paid. They were there, but they were on the job. That's why they got the sickness, because they were on the job. So the state continued to take care of them. For 3 years, they were not working. They were still being paid. If we were to follow the Constitution, once they became incapacitated, we were supposed to be removed, but they were not removed. The state continued to take care of them and give them time to recover and come back. When it is a member of Parliament, because of numbers of voting and other things, we want to treat ourselves this way. And we, members of Parliament, think that, oh, it is fine to do it. This is just taking a dagger and stabbing yourself. So if we, as parliamentarians, decide to hate ourselves, well, it's up to us. So I want to caution my colleagues on the privileges. Reflect all the things that is happening and put each and every one of these members in your own shoe and ask yourself whether these members are deliberately doing what they are doing or they have a just cause.
The Privileges Committee has hinted it may consider a televised hearing for the absentee MPs.
Away from Parliament, the Accra High Court Criminal Division has granted a 5 million Ghana cedis bail with 2 sureties to the ex-Chief Executive Officer of the Public Procurement Authority. Ajanim Boateng and his brother-in-law are standing trial on 15 counts of procurement breaches. They have since pleaded not guilty.
In court on Wednesday, May 25, 2022, as scheduled by the Accra High Court's Criminal Division, a former Public Procurement Authority boss, Agyenim Boateng, was hopeful that this time he will be vindicated and the 15 charges slapped on him will be dismissed by the court. To him and his brother-in-law, Francis Kweku Ahen, they are not guilty of the procurement breaches allegation leveled on them, and the perfect place to be vindicated is the court.
From day one, we have always pleaded our innocence in this matter, and that is exactly why we pleaded not guilty to all the 15 counts that were brought against him. We are happy with the timeline that have been set by the court, because then it means that within a very short time we will to conclude this process. We say we are innocent, and we have the opportunity now to prove to the whole world that we are innocent. Now we are in a proper forum where every allegation will be interrogated, and then the true facts will come out.
But to the Special Prosecutor Kisi Ejibin, evidence and fact gathered are enough to expose the former PPA boss and his brother-in-law over indulgence in corrupt practices.
I have my firm conviction that we have every evidence to see the accused guilty. This is in respect of the procurement breaches by the former chief executive and his brother-in-law. So that's what we did for today. So his plea, their pleas were taken. They pleaded not guilty to all the counts, and the court has given directions in respect of how the trial will proceed. So we're back in a month's time to comply with the court's processes, and then the trial can commence.
The court will on Tuesday, June 28, 2022, sit for the second time to hear the legal banter from both parties. Elvis Ando, Law Complex, Accra.
Thank you, Elvis. And we've been joined via Zoom by private legal practitioner and lecturer, Justice Abdullahi, to talk more on this issue. Thank you very much for joining me tonight, Justice. Do you think there is enough evidence to prosecute the matter, and what is the fate of this suit? Hello, Justice Abdullahi, can you hear me?
But I can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you begin
again?
Can
you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I was saying that, sadly for me, I am not in the position, in the comfort of my office, to determine the guilt or otherwise of a person who has been appropriately charged before a court of law. The best you and I could do would be to dissect the issues, but clearly cannot determine the guilt or otherwise of the person, particularly when the matter is sub judice. We can't pronounce on that. We are not the authority to do so, and we cannot do so. We can't even predict, because that one is, it could bring the two of us into a contempt of the court. So I'll rather we look into the issues as they are at the moment.
Right.
And what are the issues? There are videos around alleging that Mr. Agyenim Boateng is involved in some sort of crime, and they are before the courts to prove their innocence, and indeed to prove their guilt by the Kisi Ejibin, i.e. the special prosecutor. So at this moment, we do not have much of the evidence. We only have the benefit of the charge sheet. So I believe the most appropriate thing to do is to play a wait and see attitude and see the sort of evidence that the special prosecutor would be able to advance in support of his case, in order to be able to secure a conviction of the two accused persons. I believe it will be an interesting scenario for all of us, particularly considering the fact that the videos around that appears to suggest that indeed the two persons are culpable of the crimes that they have been charged with. If you listen to their lawyers very carefully, the lawyers are very firm in their belief that their clients are innocent. And so when the lawyer is speaking from this angle, clearly means that he knows something else that we do not know. And it will just be right that we all follow carefully the evidence and how the issues are analyzed before the court of law, so that we can make concrete pronouncement on it before the court even delivers its judgment. Right.
Justice Abdullahi, let's focus on the latest suit against the suspended Jabin Municipal Chief Executive Alexander Kwabena Safo Kantanka. Do you think there is enough evidence to prosecute him, or In your own capacity, what do you think about that suit?
Indeed, it is not completely different from Mr. Boate's case, to the extent that in each case, video evidence, documentary evidence were captured during the pendency of the alleged crimes. And so, those were the basis, in addition to any other investigation that the Special Prosecutor's Office might have done and have uncovered as a result of those allegations. And so, if you rely on the video evidence alone, you may be able to safely say that the people may have a case to answer. Indeed, the video evidence alone establishes that if there's a prima facie case, then which means that the people would have to be called upon to answer to the charges that have been leveled against them. As to whether those video evidence parading the streets of social media and mainstream media will be enough to secure conviction is almost impossible to say, particularly when we do not have the benefits of the defenses of these accused persons.
Right. Briefly, people are saying that the special prosecutor is going against the wrong people and that he should go against people who have committed the bigger crimes and leave these ones. What do you think?
I do not think that's a right proposition to make. First, because there are no levels of crimes. All crimes are equal before the law. And indeed, all persons are equal before the law. So all criminals, alleged, quote unquote, are equal. I can understand that.
Hello, Justice Abdullahi, are you with us?
Indeed, an authority have committed some. Sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, kindly wrap up for us.
Yes. So what I was saying was that I can understand that some persons in higher authority might have committed a lot of crimes that all of us believe that those persons should be
prosecuted.
I indeed believe there are a lot more people. I also believe in that same thing, that there are a lot more people out there who, particularly at the helm of affairs, who should be investigated and possibly prosecuted. However, should that be a reason to abandon those who have been found? I do not think that is a correct analysis to make.
Okay.
If you have committed a crime and yours is out there and you can be investigated and prosecuted, why not? I think it should be done. But that is not to say that those other persons who are alleged to have committed crimes should be let off the hook. They should also be, I go for an all-inclusive and all-embracing prosecution of whoever is alleged to have committed a crime. We should investigate those people. They should be called to be questioned on the alleged crimes that they have committed.
Right.
Nobody should be discriminated on the basis of his political ranking. I do not think that is the correct way of building a society.
Right. Thank you very much for speaking to us tonight. He is a lawyer and a lecturer. Let's bring you other stories. As encroachment on the Peshi Lagoon in Accra continues, despite warnings by city authorities, floods that have destroyed properties and sometimes led to the loss of lives have been blamed on illegal structures on the piece of natural reserve. Gabriel Ni Obodai has the rest of the story.
Lagoon has for years served as a buffer. It has received and channeled huge volumes of water, traveling through several drainage channels across the city of Accra into the sea, especially during downpours. But this is no more. Currently, large portions of the lagoon and its mangroves have been reclaimed and sold to individuals for residential and business purposes. The last two rainfalls on May 21 and 23 exposed areas around Chado, where the lagoon flows. Large tracts of lands were submerged. A fact-finding tour by the Ladade-Kutupon Municipal Assembly also revealed other portions of the lagoon have been filled with sand, construction debris, and garbage in efforts at reclaiming some more portions of the natural reserve. One Nitete, and knowing that he was talking to the municipal chief executive, claimed ownership of a fence wall that had been erected on portions of land reclaimed from the lagoon.
Yeah, Mowe. Over there, job with them.
Immediately, Municipal Chief Executive Solomon Kote Nikwe ordered the fence wall to be pulled down. Several structures suffered same fate, whilst others were marked for demolition.
They are behind all this. From Leshin. This is part of the Kweshi. And you are selling the place. They will tell you, I come here almost every day. Just recently, we came to arrest them at the other end. When I got here, they were threatening me. I have to quickly call the police. I have the videos here. I mean, the land is finished and you are not feeling the Kweshi. But I think the best solution is what I've said. Let's create a barrier at the main road. When you are coming in as a tipper truck, we find out where you are going. And then we'll follow you to come and have a look at what you're coming to do. That is all.
More than 24 hours after the downpour, residents of the area are counting their losses.
So has never been defeated, but the people are filling it up. So that is the challenge. That is it.
Understand? So now the problem is very big.
That is why I said, you wait, let's assess it.
A group of affected residents strongly made a case for the assembly to do more to bring sanity in the area.
We're trying to point to him that the difficulty that we are having is from one person structure, which is an upfront to the flow of the water. I told him I'm a construction engineer, and I saw that he was not having interest in addressing that particular issue, but rather trying to demolish this one and demolish other buildings which is not on the way of the water.
A frustrated and overwhelmed chief executive lamented how some unscrupulous persons disobey laws and blame repercussions on government.
You have to change the attitude. I mean, it's very bad. You know where you are building is wrong, but you are still doing it. Sometimes you go there to demolish it. At least we can't be there 24 hours. You know where you are filling. It's a waterway, but they will still go ahead and fill it and then sell it. And even the one who will buy, you should know that it's a waterway, but they will still go ahead and do it. But, I mean, we are up to the task. We've been fighting. We'll continue to fight until we win the battle.
The assembly says it will start extensive demolition later this week and appealed to residents to support the efforts of the assembly.
If he is able to walk the talk and not only mere writing on the walls, when we were going on the tour, we saw some as late as 2014, 2013. So writing on the wall alone and saying we will demolish it within the week. We are here, time will tell, but within the week, tomorrow and next week, I don't know if you can visit the place and see.
We'll be coming over to visit and assess.
Yeah, any structure has been touched.
Let's still stay on sanitation as President Akufo-Addo has commissioned 2 IHC Beaver 50 dredgers and marine equipment to help deal with the perennial flooding situation in the country. The president, who was grateful to the Jospon Group for acquiring the 2 heavy-duty machines, said this will go a long way to complement government's efforts in building a country beyond aid.
As a subsidiary of the Jospon Group of companies was established in 2015 to, among other things, save lives, properties and livelihoods by dredging choke drains and river bodies, thereby averting floods. The acquisition of the IHC Beaver 50 dredger and marine equipment acquired by the Jospon Group is to cement efforts being made to tackle flooding in the country even as the rains set in. President Akufo-Addo, who was present at the ceremony, commissioned the equipment.
Accordingly, it is my singular pleasure to declare the ultra-modern IHC Beavers and IHC workboats of Dredge Masters Limited duly commissioned.
He said the country would no longer need the services of foreign companies to embark on dredging activities in the country, adding the Jospon Group is gradually helping the country move beyond aid.
We do not need to look outside anymore when it comes to the dredging of dams, reservoirs, ports, harbors, and inland reclamation activities. The vision of moving Ghana to a situation beyond aid is being assisted by the support being offered by companies such as the Jospon Group.
The executive chairman of the Jospon Group of companies, Dr. Joseph Siao Ejapon, on his part, called on Ghanaians to desist from throwing refuse into river bodies in the country.
As we speak today, we have about 70 units of various dredging equipment. After the initial work on the Korle Lagoon, we have also executed projects on the White Water, the Cape 3 Points, and provided so many dredging activities for corporate Ghana. As we provide this equipment, I would like to admonish my fellow citizens to desist from throwing waste into water bodies. This is because all the investment being made in this sector will not yield the expected result if our attitude does not change.
The Minister for Works and Housing, Francis Asanso-Boakye, together with the Minister for Roads and Highways, Kweku Ofori-Esiama, while lauding the initiative, declared their support for the Just One Group, adding the equipment would go a long way to tackle the flooding menace in the country.
You will admit that flooding has become a perennial occurrence in the country, posing significant threat. Indeed, these equipment will enhance the efficiency and optimize our dredging activities across the country.
I would therefore assure Dredge Masters Limited, Mr. President, of the Ministry's continuous support, and together we will build a Ghana beyond aid.
Captain Khan, who is the General Manager of Dredge Masters, a subsidiary of the Just One Group of companies, explained how the two equipment would be put to use.
It can dredge up to a depth of 16 meters. So she can dredge dams, reservoirs, rivers. In fact, it can reclaim land. That is, you can close sea or river and make land for the population.
The commissioning ceremony was held in Accra under the theme Building a Sustainable Marine Future for Africa by Africans.
Meanwhile, President Akufo-Addo says measures put in place by government to tackle flooding in the country are working despite the recent floods witnessed in parts of the capital. According to him, government has since 2017 spent 450 million Ghana cedis on flood control in the country.
Here again with the perennial flooding of the city. Many parts of the capital, including Kaneshie, Nima, Kaswa, amongst others, have already experienced flooding activities and with it, the destruction of properties. President Akufo-Addo, who has been speaking on the flood, says government has since 2017 spent 450.
Government, since 2017, has spent some 450 million cedis on the flood control program, which has resulted in reduced incidents of flooding, particularly in the major flood-prone areas in Accra, such as the Odo Drainage Channel. Phase 5 of the Accra Sanitary Sewer and Stormwater Alleviation Project, which is intended to ensure that Odo Channel is free of silt and debris, has been commissioned. Indeed, the construction of 19 kilometers of drains has been completed, while some 1,000 kilometers of drains have been excavated, rechanneled, and maintained across the country as part of efforts to reduce the perennial flooding of Accra.
He ordered the removal of all establishments on waterways, adding MMDCEs and MMDCAs will be held accountable for permits given for establishment on waterways.
Metropolitan, municipal, and district chief assemblies have been charged to ensure the obstructions to the free flow of water, as well as developments along waterways, are removed immediately. MMDAs are also to ensure the strict adherence of developers to the planning laws of our country and sanction staff who have issued permits for structures to be built on waterways to serve as a deterrent to others who seek to engage in such acts. I'm thus putting all MMDCs on notice. You will be held accountable for any breaches that result in damage from flooding.
The president added government will continue working hard towards bringing an end to the perennial flooding in the country. Despite the assurance of the president, it is inevitable that part of the city will still experience flooding when the rains come again.
Let's still stay on flooding as head of communications at the Just One Group of companies, Sophia Kujoji, has called for strict enforcement of sanitation bylaws. This, she says, will go a long way to prevent flooding in the country.
it. It is not just about saying it, but there should be the enforcement of bylaws that ensures that people who flout these bylaws are sanctioned. And when people begin to see the sanctions, and if they are deterrent enough, then people begin to appreciate the fact that, hey, now it's not business as usual. We must move, we must do something. Because as I always say, if you litter here and we make you to sweep here for 1 month, the next time you will not do that. You know, and if people are put in jail, even putting them in jail, I think it's a waste of resources. They should be made to work for whatever things they have done. And I think that the enforcement is key, but the education can also not stop. The education cannot stop because it's not everybody that understands. And the other thing too is having receptacles in vantage points that people can easily discharge waste into. So that is why we are also preaching the 1 million bin campaign, so that the bins are not just for the homes, but on the streets too there will be bins, so that people can have places where they can place their waste. If there is no place to place it, then they are forced. Because if you don't have a pocket on you, then you just want to leave it anyhow. But we want to believe that we are learning and we are pleading with Ghanaians. Let us take responsibility for our surroundings. Let's love Ghana enough by not littering around.
Well, Accra is not the only place that gets flooded these days, as residents of Yesu Krom in the Gumua East District of the Central Region have called on authorities to remove structures on waterways. According to them, they have suffered great losses due to flooding, and the recent rains have not spared them.
Even though the flood waters have receded, it has become uncomfortable living in their rooms due to the level of devastation caused by the flood. Some of them say they had to seek shelter in nearby story buildings to save themselves and the lives of their children. They say the community in previous years had no challenges with regards to flooding until when some private developers decided to build directly in the course of a major river which takes its source from Winneba and joins the sea at Nyanyano. The residents say even though the attention of the Gumua East NADMO has been drawn to the issue, they are yet to see any action. They want authorities to act swiftly to prevent any such situation, as the rainy season has begun with the prediction of even heavier rainfalls. They spoke to Metro News.
Tiwe dem aba de pamacho asemu be boy na isu ni etimi asolve problems we pamacho
so konida no obi abesi dan asi ho nti e manso to no manso na yiri pese pacho pen fo ba hwe omo boy na mo ye gonta no mai na yesu nso to na nya ho to kakra this time no nso to yiri kura en ba ha so afi de nso to yiri pa abadam ho nyina.
The youth of MPP in the northern region are not happy with their leadership. We'll tell you more after the break. You're welcome back. Let's talk politics, as several supporters of the MPP in the northern region have marched to Tamale to protest the removal of names in the electoral album for the upcoming regional elections. The youth accused the incumbent executives and the Regional Elections Committee of being behind the removal of the names.
The aggrieved youth accused the incumbent executives of the party of doing everything to remain in power, even if it means dividing the party. They vowed to resist any action by the Elections Committee, and the executives found not to be in accordance with the constitution of the new patriotic party. Alhaji Fuseni is the leader of the demonstrating youth.
Alhaji Joe Kader, Alhaji Manan, and others who are removed from our album, if they are not replaced immediately before Friday, then it means that the election is not true and fair.
The youth also called on the Northern Regional Minister and the Mayor of Tamale, who are all part of the incumbent chairman's campaign team, to desist from telling delegates that the incumbent chairman is the choice of the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, urging the president to come to the rescue of the party in the northern region.
The president hasn't asked any one of you to go to any delegate to tell them that they should vote for A or B. The president will never do that. The president will never do that. And if the president is listening, I am telling him that that is what your representatives here are doing, and you must act on that. You must act swiftly on that. I am bemused, befuddled, and benumbed about the leadership that we have in Northern Region.
Let's say a bit more in the northern region, and I've been joined by a resident correspondent there, Alhassan Dibaba, for the latest. Dibaba, welcome to the show. How did the demonstration end?
Good evening to you, Kenneth. Yeah, the demonstration this afternoon ended successfully after the youth presented a statement to the media at the NPP's headquarters in Tamale this afternoon. Well, but what is worrying about the whole situation is the fact that when the allegation was leveled against the mayor and the regional minister, I made so many efforts to speak to them. So when I got the aid of the Tamale mayor, he confirmed to me that they were on a campaign trail with the Northern Regional Chairman of MPP, Chairman Samba, and he confirmed to me that they are campaigning for Samba, but his boss never said delegates should vote for Samba because the president asked him to tell them that. But he confirmed to me that they are campaigning for Chairman Samba to retain that regional chairmanship position. But the unfortunate thing is that the mayor in the early hours of today granted an interview to one of the local radio stations in Tamale. And it was not a good interview because the mayor made mention that he's going to use security on that day. If anybody comes to make any mistake, he will make sure that the security deals with the person. And if you can remember, yesterday was a press conference against that rule, because the people mentioned that mayor and the regional minister are trying to make sure that they bring security on that day to intimidate party supporters to ensure that the election goes the way of the incumbent chairman. But unfortunately, this afternoon, the mayor made mention of something that looks like what the youth were complaining about, because he made mention that on that day he will make sure that he brings security to the ground, that nobody can make a mistake there, because if anybody does that, he's going to instruct the security according to him to deal with the person. And the most unfortunate thing also is that those council of elders that they are talking about, Alhaji Joe Kader, Alhaji Manan, and lawyer Wahab, those are long-standing elders of this party in the northern region. Most especially the Joe Kader that they are talking about. He has been a financier of the party not today. So many people in the region are shocked to hear the mayor say that Alhaji Joe Kader is nobody in the party more than him, the mayor. And for that matter, they should forget about him. He's sitting at the timber doing nothing and thinking that Chairman Samba should not retain the chairmanship position. So the only thing I will have to put across is also the fact that the Northern Regional Police Commander and the
Hello, Dibaba.
Yes.
Dibaba, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, have you had the opportunity to talk to the people who have been accused? And if you have, what is their response?
Like I was saying, I was able to speak to the aide of the mayor, and he confirmed to me that they are campaigning for Chairman Samba as the youth alleges. But his boss, the mayor, never mentioned to any delegate that they should vote Chairman Samba because the president asked him to tell them that. And I was making a point that the IGP and the Northern Regional Police Command, they have to be on high alert, because the way things are going, we are not sure that election will end successfully if care is not taken. And that should be a very serious point everybody should be looking out for.
Dibaba, we surely get back to you in our subsequent bulletins. Thank you very much for speaking to us tonight. Away from that, the Nkranzaman Youth Association has petitioned the IGP Akufu Dampare to seek justice for Albert Donko, alleged to have suffered police brutality.
Following the death of Albert Donko, family members together with chiefs and the youth of Nkranza called for justice for the deceased. The IGP George Ekufu Dampare visited and met the bereaved families, the injured victims and stakeholders to reassure them of his commitment for a lasting solution to the issue. In a petition, the communicator for Nkranza Youth Association, Kunedu Samson, appealed to the IGP to ensure culprits behind the death are brought to book as well as CCTV cameras installed at the Nkranza police station and others across the country. The youth also appealed to have retained police personnel withdrawn from the Nkranza police station following clashes that ensued after Albert's death to ensure safety and security of the area. The press release further noted that there was peace in the area until the police personnel had a clash between the two parties. But the stance of the youth shows that they are likely to go on another demonstration as announced by the MP of the area last week.
Let's speak to Ibrahim Abode, who is our man on the ground. Ibrahim, welcome to the show. What more can you report?
Yes, as we speak, the IGP is done with his rounds for today. He just left the police station, but we are expecting that he will stay over because the man in charge of the PR duties for the Ghana Police Service, COP Kwesi Fori, is indicating that tomorrow morning at 8 he will address the press.
Right.
So throughout the rounds, they came back to the police station as a communication that they've issued to the media.
Right. We've noticed a change in approach by the youth in demanding peace. What happened?
Yes. When you look at it critically, the youth had attempted to do another demonstration, after this particular unfortunate incident. And there was a warning from the police service. And there are people who are actually advocating, or people who are now putting, words into their ears in relation to the dangers of violent demonstrations. So currently, the youth are beginning to accept that the violent demonstrations might not, bring the results that they want, or it might lead to other unfortunate incidents. And so therefore, they are really happy that the IGP decided to come over to, look into what happened.
Right.
And they are expecting something positive from that.
Right. And the youth also demanded a number of demands tabled before the Inspector General of Police. What was his response?
Some of the demands that was tabled before the Inspector General of Police, he really, objected them, but he threw it back to them. He said, whatever they are demanding should come from them, because if the youth is saying that they are those who are formal members of the leadership of Nkranza in relation to youth, and
right.
They are saying that they don't know anything about some of the unfortunate happenings, then they should be ready to point at those youth who were able to invade the police station and then discharge the...
Ibrahim, thank you very much for speaking to us tonight. I'm afraid we've run out of time. You're still watching Newsnight here on Metro Television. Return with the latest in business, sports, entertainment, and international news. Stay tuned. In business tonight, Principal Policy Advisor for UN Economic Commission for Africa, Joseph Atamensa, has admonished Africans to adapt a single currency if the continent is serious about boosting trade internally by at least 50%.
We need a common currency, whatever you want to call it, because the common currency also, imagine if we had our own common currency, which is not it will be linked to the it will have a bearing with the US dollars depending on our trade and all that. But let me tell you, we talked about one strong economy, right? So if we have a common currency like the IKU or whatever you want to call it, or whatever name you give it to it, it gives strength to your economy. So you don't have that kind of, you're isolated from exchange rate fluctuations as much as, because it becomes fixed, right? So it means that you will lose your monetary policy. Ghana alone cannot organize this policy. We need an African central bank. But mind you, we have institutions that have been created as the African Central Bank. We have the African Monetary Fund. We have the African Investment Bank. And all these things are things which AU wants to do. But it requires a bold leadership to say we're going to move on for it. It requires bold leadership to say that we are going to have one common currency for the continent.
The Center for Awareness has relaunched a new herbal product, Koa Mixture, onto the Ghanaian market for general well-being. The Koa Mixture replaces the previous Koa FS, which has been registered as a food supplement by the Food and Drugs Authority. The new product, Koa Mixture, is an improvement over previous one, Koa FS, with better efficacy for general well-being of consumers. Koa Mixture is a food supplement registered and approved by the Food and Drugs Authority. The introduction of the new product onto the Ghanaian market is targeted at generating $32 billion annually to boost the local economy. Speaking at the relaunch of Koa Mixture in Accra, the Chief Executive Officer and the founder of Koa, Professor Samuel Ato Duncan, said the product is an improved version of Koa FS.
Anybody who is caught selling any product that has not been scientifically evaluated and approved by FDA, when FDA approves, nobody can condemn it. So any doctor who condemns any herbal medicine, it will be in trouble. Once FDA has approved it, it means that you are supposed to prescribe. You may, if you want, you prescribe, but you cannot condemn.
He called on government to create a conducive environment and support herbal medicine researchers and scientists.
We don't have any cure for HIV at the moment on the market. What we have on the market is for your general well-being. So I don't want anybody to misquote me or misquote any presenter that we are saying that the Koa Mixture is for cure for HIV. Maybe it could be, but today it is not.
Professor Duncan later presented 100,000 Ghana cedis to support researchers and scientists into plant and herbal medicine. The Minister of Trade and Industry, Alan Kyerematen, expressed satisfaction at the measures put in place to improve the product. He assured of government's support to ensure plant and herbal medicines products thrive globally.
Where are we going to employ these new graduates who are going to come out of these schools? It is only through the effort of Professor and other companies that are going into the manufacturing industry that would open up job opportunities for all these people who are coming out of our scientific institutions. I'd like, on behalf of His Excellency, the President, and on my own behalf and on behalf of my ministry, to assure you, Professor, that we are solidly behind you. And whatever we need to do to make sure that we take Koa Mixture to global standards, we'll do the same.
The Deputy Minister of Health, Alhaji Mahama Saini, challenged the researchers and scientists into plant and herbal medicine to work tirelessly and be more innovative to ensure their products meet international standards.
The commitment of Professor Ato Duncan to promoting plant medicine is worth emulating by all. He has demonstrated his commitment in many forms, including providing support to Gantram and TEMD and other institutions in plant medicine sector.
He assured of support to make the product competitive internationally. We're back with the latest in sports. Stay with us.
My name is Phil John Quarte, and it's time for sports. Some parliamentarians in the Ghanaian legislature are demanding a regulation of the operation of some sporting betting companies in the country.
What happened in that match between Ashanti Gold and Inter Allies is not out of the ordinary. It's happened so many instances. It's just the case that this particular one, like we say, everybody is a thief unless you are caught. It is affecting our game. Today it's gotten to the level whereby these people, because they use systems that are able to put data together, before the commencement of the match, they know the number of people who have put bets on a particular club. So they have agents at the stadium, influence clubs, match officials, and individual players to turn the result around so that they, the betting companies, will make more money and turn around and give some to the clubs as sponsorship. It is very important that we take a look at it because this could lead even to influencing the result of our national team matches. Because if we don't nip this in the bud, those players could possibly even be influenced at the national level. Mr. Speaker, I think that we must not just allow this thing to go. We must look at our regulations and the legal regimes that control and monitor the operations of these betting companies.
That's your sports. My name is Phil John Quarte. Isiodua is ready for showbiz.
Thank you, Phil. It's time for entertainment news. My name is Isiodua Akumia. Dance has always been an integral part of the creative arts and gradually gaining grounds in the showbiz industry in Ghana in recent times. My colleague Desmond Okweko Danso visited Ghanaian dancer Gogo and his team at the dance rehearsal here in Accra.
Those are some energetic dance moves from a group of young men who have found their passion in dance. For these guys, dance is their life and their source of happiness. They usually meet to rehearse at the Ghetto Studios as part of preparations for their various projects. Gogo is the leader of the group and the originator of the back-case dance and talks to Metro News about dancing for some of the top musicians in the country, including Stonebwoy, Mona Faru, and Mr. Drew.
Instead of seeing people happy, I chose to dance. So dance really means everything to me. Like, dance is what makes me happy. Those personalities were part of my dream in a sense that, hey, bro, just imagine say at the dance plus Stonebwoy. Like, I used to say this from 2017. The first day I performed with Stonebwoy, I went out crying.
He also gave an insight on his latest dance EP, which is the first of its kind in the country.
I'm working on a hard guide EP. I'm the first dancer to do an EP. I thought of it that, oh, let me compare my professional dance videos for it to be out as a dance EP. And the EP is out and I'm still promoting the EP.
Some of the dancers also spoke to Metro News.
Aside God, dance is one of my favorite things that I really spend time on. And then I really work on it to try and improve it and all that. And then dance in Ghana is a little bit like difficult, but then we try our best through like dance videos, dance projects, dance challenges and all that, trying to get there.
Dance is my better half. Dance is part of me. If I don't dance, then it's not a real definition of me.
Well, I couldn't just leave without showing them a few dance skills.
Thank you very much, Isiodua. International news is next. A presidential hopeful of the ruling APC party of Nigeria has been arrested for corruption involving the diversion of 2.9 billion naira. My name is Kenneth Jesse. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.